morning, everyone. So you might not be ready to build a snowman, and that's okay. But we do invite all of you that are with us this morning, and I do hope that you're all home and safe and warm. We're going to sing Come, Come, Whoever You Are, and I'm just going to do my disclaimer now. If you hear Sebastian singing in the background, remember the song says Come, Whoever You Are. So let us sing together.
Thank you, Julie, and good morning, everyone. Oh, it's so good to see you all and see everyone joining us. Could everyone please take a moment to turn on your camera if you are able, and we'll have a hey, good morning wave. And I'm going to try to take a screenshot, and here we all are. It's a beautiful thing. And maybe we'll do this once more later because I see lots of white letters on black screens. Yay! One more time, one more time. Oh, it's good to see you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a beautiful thing, some of the tools we have learned to be more proficient with since the days of the quarantine, of the pandemic quarantine. So thank you all for utilizing those tools this morning and connecting with confidence that there would be others here awaiting you. I hope you will scroll around and see others' marvelous faces and names, and bring your pets, your kids, your plants, whoever else is around for this special time this morning. We will have a chalice lighting in a little bit, so I had to run and grab my chalice from another room. If you have a chalice nearby or a candle on a plate, whatever works, bring it near for our chalice lighting in a moment. For now, it is a gift to be able to be together from wherever we are in this clearing for the Spirit. A chance to check in and attune ourselves to one another on these wintry mornings when it's already been hard for some of us to get out of bed and to leave our cozy homes. This morning, we don't have to. May all be warm, snug, and safe this day. It is so good to connect with you. I want to give a shout out and thanks to Sherry Garnett and Mike Bonte for taking care of our beloved congregational home and grounds this morning and being there to meet the plow crew when we get over 3 inches and make sure that they do the right thing to help set us up for a functional week ahead. I'm really hoping not to be stuck at home for an entire week. Please do write in the chat box if you're able who, where, and how you are this morning. You can rename yourself through the list of participants. Click on yourself and the More drop-down tab and rename yourself with your pronouns. Good practice for all of us. We'd love to hear from you in these multiple ways as we enjoy the tools of technology this morning. Thanks to all those on this worship leadership team this morning who are helping manage the Zoom and the chat and things as well. There will be a time for all ages in the service in a little bit. So again, we welcome children, youth, and anyone else in your home today to especially join us for that portion. Susan Geckler is posting the order of service PDF in the chat for anyone who'd like to follow along that way. It is not precisely what we'll be doing in the Zoom today, but it is our general rubric, and it is also available on the live stream page of our website. Thanks to Norma for getting that together, even with all the uncertainty and conflicting weather forecasts of this week. With all that, Let us take a breath together and create sacred time and space together through this amazing technological means. It is so good to see your faces. As we do move towards lighting our chalice, I encourage you all to have a candle or chalice near you that you light at home. And while we will keep most everyone muted for the sake of lessening the cacophony, you are invited to join us in your muted mode in saying aloud where you are our unison words as they come up throughout the service. Lori is our service associate this morning. Welcome, Lori.
Thank you, Reverend Heather. And here is my chalice today. So I'll go ahead and light that. We light this chalice for all who are finding a way. Like a small weed pushing through a crack in the sidewalk, we are drawn by the light. We lean toward warmth, toward hope, toward life itself, even when the path is narrow and the ground is hard. May this flame remind us that finding a way does not require perfection, only persistence and the courage to keep reaching toward the light. Good morning. My name is Lori Rocheleau, and I'm delighted to serve as your worship associate this morning. We are a community of helping hands, loving hearts, and open minds. A community that does not assume we are all the same, but instead assumes that we are all different. And we fully value those differences and embrace the possibility of being transformed by them. Bring your culture, your voice, your whole self. We want to engage in a truly mutual relationship, one centered in love. We do have a few announcements this morning. The Committee on Congregational Life continues to welcome your kudos and comments in the box in the church foyer. You can also complete a card and put it in the box if you have input into Project Love, leading our vision of expansion. Due to the storm, Randy Davidson will be taking photos of new members and families after services on February 1st and February 8th. If your smiling face is missing from our UUSD directory, please stop by for a quick photo to help our community stay connected. The last day for directory photos for this winter season will be February 8th. The 11th Darwin Day celebration via Zoom will happen on Saturday, February 7th from 10:30 to noon. Can an orca give a TED Talk? Please join us online. Registration is required to get the link. Please register by Thursday, February 5th by contacting Carol Huckabee. More information today in the Sunday update. And following the service today, we will have some time for connecting socially. And then for any of you who can stay on, Congregational Administrator Norma Eckert will still be holding a post-service How to Use Breeze session. Please plan to grab your warm beverage of choice and bring your questions for how to access and use our Breeze directory. Now, please join me in saying our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this community and service our calling. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Dr. Heather is going to speak up and introduce our time for all ages.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see you here in your PJs and more. Hello to all the children and youth if you're on. Today's story is called Breathing is My Superpower. And the story is going to share to all of us how in these uncertain times and even in the stormy weather, We can sit and just breathe. Enjoy.
Hi, Storytime lovers. How is your new school year going so far? Are you learning lots of things? Is being in a new grade exciting? Challenging? My 11-year-old son has just entered secondary school, and although he absolutely loves so many things about secondary school, new subjects like physics and biology, the cafeteria, making new friends, some mornings he starts to feel a little queasy and to worry about the day ahead. Does that ever happen to you? If it does, then maybe your parents tell you to take a deep breath and relax. Most grown-ups will tell you, breathe. Do you know why? It's because breathing is a super stress buster. That's right. Simply breathing, or rather deep breathing, can reduce your worries, your anger, and your stress. It's free, and you can do it anywhere. Deep breathing is one of the best ways to lower stress in the body. How does it work?
Sorry, y'all. I had a technological difficulty. Hold on. Okay. My bad. All right. There's everybody. And now we're going to go back to the story. Okay.
Well, when you breathe deeply, it increases the supply of oxygen to your brain, thereby sending it a message to calm down and relax. Did you know that when you stress, things happen to your body, such as increased heart rate and fast breathing? So, during stressful moments, if you take a moment to stop and breathe deeply, you will help your mind and your body to release the negative energy instead of storing it inside. If you're curious or impatient at the thought of trying deep breathing, you're in luck, because in today's story, you are going to find out a great exercise called 5 breathing. And before we read all about this exercise, let me just tell you about the author of Breathing is My Superpower. Her name is Alicia Ortego. Alicia lives in New York and is a school teacher, and she has been working with children for over 20 years. Imagine how lucky her pupils are to have such an amazing teacher. And just like the authors of many books I have read to you on my channel, Alicia is a debut author and an independent publisher. So please support her by getting your own copy of Breathing is My Superpower to read along with me. And please also check out her 3 other books in my Superpower series, because they are key in helping you practice positive thinking. In fact, many of her books are used by teachers in schools. These books are Kindness is My Superpower, about empathy and compassion. Acceptance is My Superpower, about diversity and equality. And Gratitude is My Superpower, which I read to you recently. And now, let's find out how a little girl called Sophia learns that breathing can help her manage her emotions. My name is Sophia, and this is my unicorn, Bee. She is 7 years old too, and special like me. I love fairies and magical creatures and stories. I'm usually happy, but sometimes I have worries. I'm afraid to sleep with the lights off at night because some dreams have monsters with teeth sharp and white. I feel upset when other kids don't play with me. On those days, I am as angry can be. I asked my mum why I felt this, not once, but twice. She was understanding and had some good advice. When you are upset and you don't know what to do, try 5 breathing exercise. It is sure to help you. Stretch one of your hands out like a big shining star and trace your fingers like you're driving a toy car. Slide up each finger while breathing in through your nose. Feel the air fill your body from your head to your toes. Slide down the other side with the finger of your other hand. Breathe out through your mouth, and soon you will feel calm. My mummy always knows best. She is so smart and wise. So I decided to try this fun 5 breathing exercise. The next day at school, when the teacher called my name, I had to read my homework, but I felt fear and shame. I started deep breathing. 1 breath in, 1 breath out. Wow, this exercise works well. There's no doubt. My friend didn't want to play with me that day at school. So I took 5 slow, deep breaths, and I felt calm and cool. When I got home, my mum made me an egg to eat. I don't like eggs, so I started stamping my feet. Then I remembered that slow, deep breathing good. I stretched out my hand, breathed in and out, and then ate my food. I used to shout a lot, throw things, and stamp my feet. Now I like eggs more than cookies or other sweets. I use 5 breathing exercise when I'm upset or sad. I slide over my fingers when I feel angry and mad. Last night, when I put on my pajamas, soft and red, I used the exercise before going to bed. I stretched out one hand just like a big shining star. 1 breath in, 1 breath out, like I'm driving a toy car. After breathing, I was no longer afraid of the dark. Instead of monsters, I dreamt of a fun aqua park. I decided that stress would never ruin my day. With my mum's advice, I stay calm and ready to play. Now nothing can stop me, not a broken toy or a rain shower. And I'll tell you a secret. Breathing is my superpower. The end. And now, to make sure you know how to manage your negative emotions today, tell me again, how do you practice 5 breathing technique? I'm listening.
All right, I am going to...
That's right.
Stop there. Thanks to Dr. Heather's good tip. And she does offer some other breathing exercises. And when I told Braden that this is what we were going to be doing, Braden said, I know all about other breathing exercises. And so she's going to tell us about which one?
Soup breathing.
And soup breathing sounds like something very perfect for this snowy day. So when you have your mug or your bowl of soup later today, here's Braden's tip on soup breathing. What do you do?
Well, it can also be a different food because soup breathing can also be mac and cheese breathing. You know, maybe even you want to make it hot chocolate breathing. But we're going to do soup breathing today. When you do soup breathing, first you breathe in through your nose. Smell the soup. And then you breathe out. You are blowing the soup cool. You can also pretend that you're going, and then if you want to add the blowing the soup cool after that, you can do that. I'm going to do mac and cheese breathing most of the time because that's what I like. So if you don't like soup, just do something you like most. and soup breathing, or mac and cheese breathing, or hot chocolate breathing, any kind of food breathing. We can just call it yummy breathing.
Oh, I like that.
But anyway, you can do this whenever you feel mad or angry or sad. It'll help you. And that's soup breathing.
Thank you, Brayden. I hope that Greer's note about 2 programs running is now moot, because I think I stopped that. Somebody give me a thumbs up, Julie, Heather, that we're good to go. Okay, great. All right, thank you so much to Brayden for joining me in that, and to Heather for sharing that book with all of us. And Julie's going to play another few bars of music, and then we'll move into Joys and Sorrows. I'm thinking that sometimes we each at home have different things running, and that might be what was going on for Greer in that case. I know sometimes there are things, windows going that I don't even realize. So closing out windows is a great thing to do if you get bored of what I'm saying, which I have done from my own experience. All right, now is the time in our service for the sharing of personal joys and sorrows. As always, let Jean Charles and myself know whenever any of you have a joy or sorrow to share by emailing worship@uussd.org. I have some joys and sorrows that I will share aloud during this time, and then when I'm done with what I'm going to share for now, we'll invite you to share other things in the chat if you'd like to. Foremost on many of our hearts and minds this morning is the tragic, unnecessary, horrifying, and immoral killing of a nurse and citizen observer in Minneapolis, Alex Pretty, yesterday. In words of Alex's family, we are heartbroken, but also very angry. Alex was a kind-hearted soul who cared deeply for his family and friends, and also the American veterans whom he cared for as an ICU nurse at the Minneapolis Veterans Administration Hospital. Please get the truth out about our son. He was a good man. Mindful of many ears via our online service this morning, I will leave it there for today. But I invite all of you who are able and emotionally up for it to reach out and make your feelings heard. To our elected leaders, to the organization March. I'm going to put the link in the chat. March is the organization in Minnesota that's formed in response to the immigration presence there. Multi-faith, anti-racism, change, and healing. Obviously, I mean the anti-immigration presence. I am not great at multitasking online, so I'm doing my best. One organizer, Peter Anderson, at the site of Alex Pretty's death, wrote, "This was a holy site, a thin place, a place where people were trying to love their neighbor, shout against injustice, and use their words and very bodies to not only pray, long for, demand a better world, but to start making that world a reality, one caring interaction and cry and samosa at a time." We hold Alex Pretty in our hearts and thoughts this morning, and his family and friends and community and everyone facing violence there. It is, of course, a joy to share that Reverend Kathy was able to make it safely to and from Minnesota this week in response to that call for clergy to be present there. That work is ongoing, and Kathy made lots of good connections, and they'll be sharing with us about their learnings, inspiration, and experience there as part of next Sunday's service. So look forward to their sharing back next Sunday, when I am really hoping that we will be on site again. And I probably should have announced this one last Sunday. Thank you to those of you who shared that you hoped I would bring it up. It is a joy that Avelo Airlines announced they will be halting all deportation flights at the end of this month. In words inspired by organizer Nikki Marin Baena from North Carolina, Avelo Airlines was forced to retreat because tens of thousands of people made their participation in deportation flights a toxic asset. This is a direct victory for the movement. From the tarmac to the ticket counter, our organizing created a sustained pressure campaign that Avelo could no longer ignore. People showed up in small cities around the country, usually in the dozens, sometimes as few as 4 or up to a couple hundred, to let people know that Avelo Airlines was running deportation flights. These small ad hoc and grassroots groups of dedicated people work together across faith and sectoral lines. Unitarian Universalists joining Democratic Socialists of America and Indivisible here in Delaware and many places. This month, we have seen the tangible result of that solidarity. When communities unite, we can dismantle the logistics of deportation. All are welcome to the national online celebration and debrief of this campaign, calling on Avelo Airlines to stop its deportation flights. That'll be with Reverend Kathy on February 4th online from 7 to 8:30 Eastern. Jean will put this link and paragraph here in the update. In personal and family news of loved ones, Lynn Ronk's mother, Bailey Weaver Ronk's grandmother, Hilda Grothy of Seven Valleys, Pennsylvania, died last Saturday, January 17th. We send our love to the whole Weaver Ronk family. She was 80 years old. The Weaver Ronks shared their heartfelt thanks and appreciation for all the many kindnesses and support they've received. Judy McClure's sister, Jody Donnelly, is now receiving palliative care at her home in Salisbury, Maryland. She's been struggling for some time with a neurodegenerative complex chronic illness with connective tissue dysfunction. Your prayers and good energy are always welcome and deeply appreciated. Julie McCullough's father, Sanford Unger, died this past week in Sedona, Arizona. He was 95 years old, and though they weren't close, Julie is processing this complex loss. You are welcome to share your personal joys and sorrows in the chat box today. For a time, we'll try to bring us all back together in a little bit. For all of us and all those we care about locally and regionally, I hope we are safe, warm, cozy, dry, and sustained through this notable East Coast winter storm. Please reach out if there is some way we can help connect or support you during this at times harsh season. Do stay after the service today if you're able to connect socially and also to learn how to do a search and breeze for your UUSD neighbors. We are all better together and do better when we are able to more easily reach out, know, and connect with one another. For now, join me in our congregation unison words, and you can write your response in the chat if you'd like. That in our joys and in our sorrows, we are held in love beyond belief. Join me now wherever you are in the spirit of prayer and meditation, in positioning yourself and breathing deeply so that you might soak in this beautiful poem by Tess Taylor from this lovely collection, The Path of Kindness. I'll turn off my blur for more book showing later in the service. This is There Doesn't Need to Be a Poem by Tess Taylor. There doesn't need to be a poem for this sadness. Simply to breathe next to a stream that slips into the gutter near your house would be enough. To see next door in the graveyard the brown and yellow millipede bury itself below one granite stone, joining the work of making soil. Just as now the faithful oxygen still turns the copper headstone green, oxidizing to patina despite all. By luck, your own feathered alveoli still redden blood. Your fine cell walls trade oxygen for carbon and sift the windy mix we call the air. This happens, going on invisibly, even if no one remembers how, and even if it seems that pain is a volatile molecule, grief bonding unpredictably to things. Now the late sun rims a cloud. You who watch that cloud, inhale, exhale. Let us all, as we were guided in doing earlier, let us all take a few deep breaths together and feel the silence that even just connected online, we can hold and hold sacred together. Amen. Blessed be, Ashe and Aho. The words for our song of meditation will be in the chat if you'd like to sing along with Julie now.
We have a gravel fire pit area in our backyard. When it was installed, the landscapers laid a layer of synthetic fabric, a weed barrier, they called it, before topping it with stones. The thought is that by blocking sunlight, it will prevent existing weeds from growing and new seeds from germinating. I was thinking about that barrier this past fall as I was on my kneeling pad in the fire pit picking weeds. Lots and lots of weeds. Somehow, they find a way. They grow between patio bricks and crevices in the sidewalk with no encouragement, nutrition, or even the bare minimum required for survival. Regardless of the season, they find a way, essentially acting as nature's ground cover and soil healers. I want to be more like the weeds, stretching toward the light, no matter how remote or distant, providing cover and healing. Lately, the news of our greater world feels like a weed barrier, layer upon layer of heartbreak, wreckage, and utter devastation blanketing our collective spirits with the hope that we will eventually give up, stop growing, stop reaching, stop trying, stop hoping. There isn't a person I talk to who hasn't felt the impact, the oppressive weight of it all. It weaves its way into almost every conversation I have. And yet, how to cope? We need to preserve our collective sanity and well-being for the long haul. Everyone copes in their own way, even differently from day to day. Maureen Murphy caught me last week before service and shared that she watches videos of dogs choosing The human, they want to adopt them. One of my intentions in this new year is to be present, to notice the small, stubborn things like how my coffee tastes better when I slow down long enough to really drink it. The familiar comfort of a song I've loved for years. My daughter's joy in sharing another crochet creation she's brought to life. The mundane is anything but. None of these moments undo the harm or fix what's broken, but they remind me that life keeps offering itself again and again in modest, persistent ways. Weeds don't ask for permission. They don't wait for ideal conditions or perfect timing. They take root wherever there is the slightest opening, a crack just wide enough to say, here, try here. There's something holy in that kind of insistence, a refusal to disappear, a commitment to growth that isn't flashy or celebrated, but deeply necessary. I think about that when I choose kindness over cynicism, when I show up even while tired, when I let myself feel joy without apologizing for it. Maybe resilience isn't about being strong all the time. Maybe it's about continuing anyway, reaching for the light with whatever energy we have left, even when the odds are stacked against us. Maybe hope isn't a grand solution, but a series of small, defiant acts, loving fiercely, caring locally, staying tender in a world that often rewards numbness. Don't ever doubt that a series of small moments of empathy, solidarity, kindness, bravery, and courage can equal a movement. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has. Heather Cox Richardson shared in her letters to America this week that she's come to believe that heroism is neither being perfect nor doing something spectacular. In fact, it's just the opposite. It's regular, flawed human beings choosing to put others before themselves, even at a great cost, even if no one will ever know, even as they realize the walls might be closing in around them. It means standing before lawmakers to demand the right to vote, even as you are mocked, jailed, and force-fed, as Alice Paul did when she led the suffragists in protest that helped secure the passage of the 19th Amendment. It means choosing to tell the truth in your writing and speeches, even when it guarantees surveillance, harassment, and attempts to silence you, as James Baldwin did when he insisted America confront what it wanted to deny. Sometimes it means continuing to love and believe in justice after the law has failed you, your family, and your community, and still demanding accountability, as Mamie Till Mobley did when she insisted the world see what had been done to her son. It means standing on Route 1 in solidarity, regardless of weather conditions and despite negative comments and hand gestures from some passersby. It means writing letters or postcards until your hand cramps. It means sitting with a friend or showing up to an event, even though you're tired or it's snowing, because you believe in the power of community. None of those people woke up one morning and said to themselves that they were about to do something heroic. It's just that when they had to, they did what was right and reached toward the light. Strive to be a weed. The weeds will keep growing through gravel, through fabric, through concrete, and so will we if we let ourselves. Not untouched by hardship, not immune to sorrow, but alive, still reaching, still choosing, collectively finding a way. As we enter our time of offering now, we invite you to give as you are able to support the ministries and mission of this congregation. Our shared generosity sustains our community, extends our values beyond these walls, and helps us live our faith in the world. Whether you give financially or hold this moment in gratitude, we thank you for being part of this collective act of care. You can contribute today by going online to the UUSD website and clicking on the donate button in the upper right-hand corner. The offering will now be gratefully received.
Thank you to Lori and Julie. And I hear my town siren going on. So if you hear that in the background, that's all that is. It sounds like a tea kettle from far away. It is so good to see you all. And it was so, and your names. And I totally respect all the different things that enable us to be online for an hour. So if you are not on camera, that's awesome too. But I feel your presence among us. It is so good to see you all, and it was so important to me that this be live, that we still have the experience of connecting with each other in this moment for this time. I had first planned to speak today inspired by a book called Bittersweet: How Sorrow and Longing Make Us Whole by Susan Cain. But then there was a lovely service earlier this month on longing, and I switched gears to focus more on mysticism and the shimmery precariousness that we can feel at this time of year. And that brought me to Mirabai Starr, who has numerous books on mysticism and beautiful translations of well-known mystical texts, no immediate relation that I'm aware of. Wild Mercy is one of her books, Living the Fierce and Tender Wisdom of the Women Mystics. Mirabai also has a book called Ordinary Mysticism, Your Life as Sacred Ground, which I have on my to-read list. What would a reflection by Reverend Heather be without a bunch of book recommendations? Marty McLaren referred a book to me that if you haven't read it, I highly recommend. I found it gripping. One of those novels, which I rarely read novels, as Kathy knows, but it was so absorbing. I was listening to it in the car, and I was going to some lengths to carve out time to keep listening to it. The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. The beautiful questions it evokes about what if we all were informed of exactly how long we would live. Would we want that? Would we look up that information? What would we do with it? They were wonderful questions for reflecting on in the winter months. The UUSD Book Club will be reading The Measure this spring and discussing it at their May book club gathering. I will be away, or I would be there for sure. Such a marvelous book to read or talk about. Look it up if you are cooped up for these next few days or weeks. Hopefully not. And as we potentially do face multiple days of slush, sleet, snow, ice, and just all around general treacherousness, now is a great time to replenish your own book pile. What I ended up choosing as my guiding text for today was Caravan of No Despair, a memoir of loss and transformation by Mirabai Starr. The title intentionally echoes our gathering song today, a familiar song for us set to music by UU minister Reverend Lynn Unger, based on a poem by Rumi. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. On the day Mirabai Starr's first book came out, which was a new translation of Dark Night of the Soul by St. John of the Cross, Mirabai's daughter, Jenny, was killed in a car accident. She received the books and heard the news from a state trooper in the same day. This entire memoir, Caravan of No Despair, is a reckoning, a processing of that incredible, tragic loss. Tragedy and trauma, Mirabai writes, are not guarantees for a transformational spiritual experience, but they are opportunities. They are invitations to sit in the fire and allow it to transfigure us. I haven't figured out how to begin to summarize this memoir succinctly for today, so it was more a source of nudging to reflect on all the loss that we all carry with us and the exposedness that we can feel at this harsh time of the winter. Our vulnerability in the face of this abrasive, at times biting chill, at times horrifying world, as Lori spoke to so beautifully. How do we keep pressing on, persisting, being weeds, being present to all the small and stubborn things, even while carrying our grief with us? Mirabai writes, acute sensibility to the beauty of this world seems to come with an equal measure of permeability to pain. Acute sensibility to the beauty of this world seems to come along with an equal measure of permeability to pain. At this time of year, many of us experience waves of longing, grief, loss, tenderness, contemplation. We seek deeper connections through wisdom from the mystical traditions, perhaps, or feel transformation within ourselves, like butterflies in chrysalis form, caterpillars in chrysalis, waiting and wondering about that possibility of becoming butterflies. Somewhere in the midst of this wintertime and these feelings, we find our ways forward. Thanks again to Lori for her mulling on this theme for today's service. What are you reading and mulling on during these chilly winter days and long nights? What voices, perspectives, wisdom, and guidance are you inviting into your home today? Thank you for inviting all of us to be together for this time. Along with everything else burdening our spirits these days, we are definitely in winter. There is definitely no denying that today. And being in tune with the natural cycles of the seasons around us is part of our humanness. Some of us may feel particularly private these days, like hibernating or withdrawing. But the work of the world is common as mud, as poet Marge Piercy writes. And all our commitments bring us out of our separate shells and into interaction, into connection, and connection carries us forward. By leaning into the horror and yielding to the sorrow, Mirabai Starr writes, by standing in the fire of emptiness and saying yes to the mystery, I was honoring my child and expressing my ongoing love for her. It was not mere mindfulness practice. It was heartfulness practice. We live still accompanied by those we have lost the ability to physically touch. Sometimes it seems they are even more with us. A spiritual teacher says to Mirabai near the very end of this memoir, 9 years after her daughter Jenny's death, a teacher says to Mirabai, "She is with you. She guides your steps." In the foods we make, the judgments we may hold and struggle to let go of, the questions we may never be able to ask, the snapshot memories that flash through our minds, they are with us. They guide our steps. Those who we grieve are still with us. I had planned to speak about the mystical this morning, the kind of thinness of the light and the veil between our reality and the presence of our deceased beloveds with us. And I didn't get quite as far down that path as I'd hoped to today. But I was talking with Sherry this morning about the incoming snow and the ways that snowfall is itself mystical. When I was a college student in New York City many years ago, I'll never forget taking the subway to my job at the time that was on the other side of Manhattan one early winter morning, and emerging from the subway station, coming up the stairs. I had gone down the stairs on one side of Manhattan, and it was a winter, cold, gray, concrete day. And I came up on the other side of Manhattan to a completely quiet, blanketed Lexington Avenue. It had snowed while I was on the train, and now everything was still. I walked down the middle of Lexington Avenue. Everything was still for this short time, covered evenly in a beautiful layer of white, sparkly softness. Let us marvel today as much as we are able at the mysterious and unpredictable beauty of the natural world that still has far more power than any one human being to cover us all, to quiet us all, to transform and stop us all from our running around and bring us together into marveling, into awe, into wonderment, into stillness. Let us tend to our spirits with extra heartfulness as Mirabai Starr explores. Let us cultivate faith, hope, trust in ourselves, in warmer days that will come, in our deeply woven web of care here and touching all who each of us love. Let us keep persisting, keep reaching, keep leaning toward the light. May it be so. Let us sing together a favorite song of our younger kids, so I know that all ages can join me in knowing and appreciating this one. And Elizabeth or Susan will put the words in the chat. And I just invite you to take this song into the rest of the day with you too, when you're shoveling or sweeping or breathing on your soup or tea or mac and cheese. Let this song be a mantra for you today.
will take the time to extinguish our chalice as we sing. We extinguish the flame in this chalice, but not the one in our hearts. This is the light of our soul that shines forth when the world seems too dark. It is the spark that ignites hope when that seems lost. Your light is precious, carry it with you always.
Following the service, folks online this morning, all of us stay here in the Zoom room for a short time with others for a time of connection and conversation. After about 15 minutes of social time, Norma Eckerd will lead us in an online breeze how-to session or brush up on your breeze skills while you're stuck at home. You could write some postcards or notes or texts or phone a friend after. Join us and see if you can learn something about how to better navigate and make use of this amazing tool for connection. Following the service, do send a note or email, share a text or thought with someone you've seen here on screen this morning. Check in with each other. Let this service each Sunday just be the beginning of your reaching out and strengthening community in your life. And whether you leave your home or not today, in whatever ways you interact with others and take care of yourself, keep with you Brene Brown's words and encouragement to join me. Stay awkward, stay brave, and be kind. Thank you all for riding the Zoom ship with us this morning. It's been so good to be with you.